Hello, hello. This is your host, Sheraz Ahmed, ready to kick off another bite-sized episode of the Crypto Valley Association podcast. Now, let's discover together the growing trends of this fast-moving space and try to shed some light on the mysteries it contains. Today, we are joined by Ibrahim Alkurd, CEO of NewMine, who focus on deploying enterprise-level mining operations through the use of sophisticated hardware, infrastructure, and software. So let's dive straight into the hidden world of mining. Ibrahim, happy to have you with us today. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So maybe let's dive straight into this, and you can tell us a little bit more about your first blockchain related experience.
Sure. So I got into the crypto world back in 2015, and I had a friend tell me about it. And I was super interested in the industry and started reading up on it. And then I noticed that there was a huge opportunity in arbitrage trading between different exchanges. The opportunity nowadays is not what it used to be, but that's how I got into the space. And then through that and through the people I met, I ended up launching NewMine in 2016. And then I got into the world of cryptocurrency mining, particularly Bitcoin mining. Started mining throughout data centers in North America. And then we provided a service for miners. And now we've been around for 4.5, 5 years doing this. And it's what we love to do.
All right, great to hear. And maybe before we go deeper into that, maybe you can explain to our audience in the simplest of terms possible what cryptocurrency mining is.
Sure. So if we focus on Bitcoin, when you send a Bitcoin transaction from one wallet to another wallet, you attach a fee to it. Okay. And essentially what the miners do is the miners take that fee, transaction fee, and they verify the transaction to make sure that everything is legitimate and looks right. So actually the miners are super important because they secure the network, and if they're one of the fundamental pillars of the space. In fact, without the miners, proof of work blockchain protocols cannot run. So it's quite a hidden area of the crypto world, and it's kind of in the background, but it's super important for the long-term success of it.
Okay. So you're not actually going into mines in Manchester with your pickaxe to find digital currencies.
Well, no, absolutely not. But actually, that's the analogy we give. That gold. If you want to mine gold, you need the machinery to go into the ground and get it out. And it's the same. If you want to mine Bitcoin, you need the computers to be able to mine it. So that's actually a pretty good analogy.
Okay, quick. That's quite interesting actually. And so tell us more about NewMine then.
Sure. So the two kind of main pillars of the company. One is that we manufacture and source cryptocurrency mining machines, and then we host them in places with cheap power. So particularly we're focused on hosting it in North America. Places that we have sites to host that include Washington State, North Carolina, Labrador City in Canada, plotted all over North America essentially. And we like North America because the regulatory framework there is very friendly. So the machines are very secure there in comparison to other parts of the world. And you can get some really good power rates that are competitive on an international scale. So we've found that North America is a great jurisdiction for us to work there and work there with our clients.
Okay, great to hear. And so from what I know, China is quite a big powerhouse for the mining industry. Is that true?
Yeah, so actually it's estimated that around 2/3 of the world's Bitcoin hash rate comes out of China. The reason that I'm focusing on Bitcoin mining is because the majority of large-scale cryptocurrency mines in the world are mining Bitcoin. So if we delve into the details there's essentially two classes of machines in the crypto mining world. One is ASICs. So an ASIC machine can only mine one coin and nothing else. For example, a Bitcoin mining machine can only mine Bitcoin. Bitcoin ASIC machine, a Litecoin ASIC machine can only mine Litecoin. And then the second class are GPU rigs, so graphics processing units. And they can mine a versatile number of coins. So Ethereum or any of the other altcoins that are not ASIC resistant.
Okay, and so what about cloud mining then?
So cloud mining, so the difference between us and cloud mining is that in cloud mining, you're buying a contract that gives you a particular amount of hash rate. When with us, you actually own the underlying asset, you actually own the machines. So I am not aware of any cloud mining contract that's been profitable long term. So any serious miners, they buy their own machines and they host them. What I always say is if it was more profitable for these cloud mining companies to mine themselves, they would be mining themselves, right? They wouldn't be selling you a mining contract. So my advice to people that want to get into crypto mining or thinking about it is to actually own the machines and own the underlying asset, because that will bring you up on top in the long run.
Okay, but so then what would be the fixed cost to get into the mining space, right? Because I mean, owning a large rig would cost in the millions, I'm sure. So how could a small player get into the space?
Yeah, so owning a large data center can be in the millions, but what we usually do to make it the bar of entry lower for our clients is that all they need is a minimum of one machine to get started. So we actually host their machines with other clients. So what it means is that they can then capitalize on the low electricity rates and the facility whilst not needing to buy hundreds or thousands of machines. So it depends on which machine you want to buy. If you want to buy an S9, which is the older generation of Bitcoin miners that can cost a few $100s, and then if you want the latest, most efficient machinery, the S19, the S19 Pros, you're looking at, well into the thousands, so 5,000-6,000 for a machine. And the other important thing to note is that the price of the machinery in the space is dependent upon the price of Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin's price goes up 2x, generally the price of the machine doubles, because then the machines are twice as profitable to run. So this it's an important consideration when getting into mining. What people usually do is that they order several months in advance so they can capitalize on better rates of the machines. Because if you were to buy machines and you want them ASAP, you're not going to get the best rates in the market.
Okay, great. And so, can you tell us a little bit about how your business was impacted by COVID?
Yeah, so COVID unfortunately has lasted a lot longer than any of us expected. Actually, we planned to go to the World Economic Forum this year, right? But it's been cancelled, unfortunately. Look, cryptocurrency industry is one of the rare industries that's actually benefited, I believe, from the pandemic. So I think there's two things that really caused this bull market in 2020. It was the pandemic because of all the quantitative easing that all governments all over the world did, and it was also the DeFi, decentralized finance hype that came about, and this all accelerated the adoption of cryptocurrency. So at first we were impacted in that it was harder to transport machines. We transport our machines from China to the US, so it was hard to get flights and everything. But once things stabilized by summer, I think overall we actually benefited from it.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. And so, do you believe the current rise that we've been seeing within the markets has been due to COVID or due to the halvening then?
So partially more due to COVID, I believe, than due to the halvening. So speaking of the halvening, it's essentially where the block size halves every 4 years. So before it happened earlier this year, every 10 minutes, 12.5 Bitcoins were circulated between the miners in the space. Now 6.25 Bitcoins circulated between the miners. In 4 years' time, it's going to be half of 6.25. So it definitely had an impact. It's this market moves on supply and demand, right? So because now the supply is lower, the demand's going up, it's going to impact the price. And I think it's multifactorial, right? All of these things have played a key role in the all-time high of Bitcoin's price that we're seeing right now. I know, we've all been blown away by how much it's shot through the roof recently.
Yes, it's quite crazy. At the recording now, I think Bitcoin is around 38,000, which is honestly quite insane. Okay, so there's often this fallacy that is said that mining takes a lot of energy and power. How do you defend yourself when people say that it's just not sustainable?
Yeah, it's actually something I've heard several times, that cryptocurrency mining is so bad for the environment. It does need a lot of energy, there's no doubt, but the majority of cryptocurrency mines outside of China, at least, run on renewable energy, usually hydropower. I know that all the sites that we've deployed mining operations at North America have utilized hydropower. So it's environmentally friendly. It's good for the local economies, because a lot of these mines that are built in places that can be quite remote, so you're actually stimulating the economy, creating jobs. So actually, overall, it ends up benefiting the community and not damaging the environment. We've never actually run a mining operation that's powered by coal to date.
Okay, wow, that's quite a nice little factoid there as well. Okay, and so you mentioned a little bit about proof of work earlier on. Can you tell us maybe a little bit more about what proof of work is, and then the other protocols that are out there, like proof of stake, and why there are some firms that are moving towards the proof of stake?
Sure. So Ethereum, as a lot of people know, is working towards moving to a proof of stake protocol, and one of the reasons for that is due to scalability, right? In that you can only get so many transactions with the current block size of Bitcoin, for example, right? The current block size of Bitcoin is 1 megabyte, which is, I believe, only can fit a few thousand transactions, right? But once you move to a proof of stake protocol, then you can increase that and be able to have more transactions per second. Now, the way that proof of stake works essentially is that you have a minimum number of coins. So with Ethereum, if you want to stake your Ethereum, I think it's something like 32 coins, and then you stake them and essentially generate more Ethereum as a result of that. So it's essentially swapping out the miners for using your crypto to verify transactions and thereby get more crypto. And I think that I do not foresee Bitcoin ever moving to a proof of stake protocol. It's completely different to something like Ethereum, but I actually think it could be really beneficial for something like Ethereum. Bitcoin and Ethereum have different purposes. What I like to say is that Bitcoin is digital gold. Ethereum is oil because it has so many use cases, right? Just like with oil, you can make plastic or fuel your car. There's a lot of use cases with Ethereum. And then something like Litecoin is a digital silver. And these are by far my favorite three cryptos in the market. And there's a reason they've been around for so long and they're the most popular because they, stood the test of time.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. Do you think we may see at one point in time kind of a hybrid between proof of work and proof of stake come into play?
I'd be interested to see it. It would be very difficult to execute, in my opinion. I'm not sure what kind of would be the benefit of that. Have you heard anything?
No, I think it's just about, you were speaking about the scalability, right, of Bitcoin, and the reason for Ethereum moving to proof of stake being due to the fact that it's not so scalable within proof of work, but potentially having some confirmations being approved via proof of work and then having proof of stake working in some sort of a hybrid to get both the pros of both in tandem. But just interesting to see if you'd had any thoughts about that.
Yeah, I think, look, it's either one or the other. I don't think this is the sort of thing you can mix and match. They either have to choose a proof of work protocol or a proof of stake.
Okay, great. It's very, very interesting to hear. And so maybe you can tell us a little bit more about, you have operations internationally, more in Northern America. How would it work if somebody is mining abroad, but they're based in a certain residence? Do you have these kind of questions that come up with regards to taxation, revenue, and these type of things?
Yeah, we for sure do. So let's say that someone is living in the Netherlands, for example, and they're mining in America, because if they're living in the Netherlands, their tax residence is there. So the tax implications are as a resident there, right? There's nothing that's taxed by the US government for you mining there, right? Because all you're doing is essentially using the hosting companies there to put your machines. And, that is, tax is always a very important consideration for people wanting to deploy large scale mines. But usually it's the jurisdiction that you live in or that the company is based in, registered in, that's where your implications will be.
Okay, great. Happy to hear about that. And so when we're talking a little bit about mining in terms of collectives, right? So this is a common word called pooling, right? So people pool together and so they're able to mine and they share they share the profits amongst them. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the concept of pooling came into play within the mining space and maybe a little bit more about what it is?
Sure. So what happened was, as mining got more competitive, what people did was they started working together. So a pool is essentially a group of people that are trying to solve the block as fast as possible, right? So the person that solves the block the fastest is rewarded with the Bitcoins or whatever cryptocurrency that they're mining. So what happens then is that that pool of people then distributes the cryptocurrency between them. So what it does is that it can increase the amount of profit you generate, because when you're working with other people, you are more likely to mine the blocks and get the cryptocurrency. Similarly, going back to the gold mining analogy, it's kind of having like a team of people, you and your friends mining together, people that and then the gold that you find, distribute it between you guys. But the way it's distributed is dependent upon how much work you've done, right? So if you in the pool you're contributing 20% of the hash rate, you're going to get 20% of the rewards for that. So it's a very fair way of doing it. And it's every single client that we set up that's mining joins a pool. There's a lot of pools. If you go into Google and you type in Bitcoin mining pool ranking, it'll give you a list of all the pools and also tell you what percentage of the network hash rate is coming out of that pool. So there's a lot of kind of big ones. Actually, most of them are out of China. China really does run the monopoly in the mining space. And the reason for that is because there's two things that China has that is in its favor. It has very cheap power. It's got cheap labor. Actually, three things. And the third thing is obviously it's a massive manufacturer of electronic computers, right? So all the machinery for cryptocurrency mining is out of China right now. It's produced there. So those three things combine together to make China a super house for mining. But we're definitely seeing some people shifting towards North America or towards Europe from China because they're worried about the regulatory problems that may arise in the coming years. We've seen that governments now, for example, the SEC is cracking down on cryptocurrency and they want to regulate it. And we still don't know kind of what might come out of China in the coming years.
Okay, interesting. So are you not a little bit fearful with regards to this kind of monopoly, oligopoly that you're talking about with regards to China having a lot of the control over the mining power?
I think it's unfortunately something that it's in the space as a whole, right? A very small minority of people control a large percentage of the wealth. And it's the same with mining. People that started mining earlier have a massive upper hand, but people that started mining later, there's the threshold for mining profitably is constantly being raised. And this is kind of why not many people know much about mining, and that's what we try to do. A lot of what we do is educating our clients about the space and holding their hand throughout the process. Because if you don't have a company that's experienced in the space, it's very easy to get screwed over. But yeah, as I said, the monopoly thing is a part of the space, and there's nothing that we can do about it, unfortunately.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that part. And then, so what about the future of the mining space as a whole?
Yeah, so I think that as long as proof of work cryptocurrencies are in the space, then mining is necessary. I don't foresee Bitcoin ever moving to a proof of stake, as I mentioned before. So I do see mining being around forever for as long as Bitcoin is around. So that's good for us. It means that we've got a long-term business model, we hope. But that as I mentioned before, that it's getting more and more competitive to mine. And because the block reward is constantly halving every 4 years, people are going to have more efficient machinery, cheaper power. What we're going to see as well, I believe, is right now data centers where the machines are hosted are air cooled. So we're going to see data centers moving towards immersion cooling. That's the next technology in the space. Immersion cooled mining computers essentially are put in a dielectric fluid. So the fluid circulates around the machine. And what this does is it keeps the machine a lot cooler. So you can run it at a higher hash rate. It's less likely to break down. So that's the next kind of layer of technology that I see the space moving to in the next 3 or 4 years. Actually, right now, people are deploying immersion-cooled Bitcoin mining machines, but it's not very cheap, right? As it gets cheaper, it's going to become more popular.
Okay, great to hear. And so before we end up closing up here, there's another question that actually came to my mind. What are your thoughts about quantum computing then, and the ability of kind of Moore's law, whereby power is increasing every 18 months, it's doubling essentially. So what are your thoughts with regards to that?
Yeah, so as the technology becomes more advanced, the industry takes advantage of that, right? So the machines now are many more times more powerful than they were 4 years ago in terms of the hash rate and the number of algorithms they can process per second. So there is talk of like, can someone build a quantum computer that can destroy the network? It's very unlikely. I wouldn't say impossible, but it's very unlikely because if you actually look at the power of the Bitcoin network, it's huge. It's huge. It would take so much money to destroy it, and if someone destroys it, they're not going to benefit from it because then the price of it is going to crash like crazy. So it doesn't make any sense for anyone to do it, really.
Okay, yeah, that does make sense. Okay, and so what is your future? What is your vision for the future of this whole industry, the whole blockchain industry?
I think 2020 has been a great year for it. I think we've got some things around the corner in 2021 that are going to be great. Obviously, the price increases has brought a lot of people's attention to the market. We're seeing a lot of institutional players, banks, and regulations coming in. So all of this is going to be really beneficial for the long-term health of the space. The regulators are necessary in order to kind of bring that institutional money into the space, because the more regulated it is, the more the institutional money is going to come. And also the retail investors, when you've got things like PayPal listing cryptocurrencies, it makes it far more accessible to be able to buy it. I think all of this is going to help to accelerate the adoption of cryptocurrencies. The other thing I think is that young people, millennials right now, they don't have a large proportion of the world's wealth, but as they get older and they accumulate more wealth, I feel that these people have a higher inclination towards wanting to invest in something like Bitcoin or Ethereum and these other cryptocurrencies because they're very technology literate and often open to new things because they've lived in a world that's constantly evolving and constantly changing. So I think all of these is going to kind of be really good for the space.
Well, thank you for this energetic conversation, Ibrahim. It was wonderful. Definitely learned a lot, and I hope our audience did as well. Do you have any final words you'd like to share with everyone?
Yeah, sure. I mean, from our end, if anyone wants to kind of learn about mining at all, if they want to have a chat, we're more than kind of happy to do that. You can reach us on our website, newmind.io. As I said, it's a really important area. It's a really important area in the crypto world, and it's a really important one to pay attention to. But yeah, I'm really excited for kind of what 2021 and beyond is going to present.
Great. Well, if you enjoyed this conversation, feel free to check out more on our website, cryptovalley.swiss, where we host plenty of events, educational content, and even provide information on how you can join our growing network. So thanks again, Ibrahim, for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Great. Stay tuned, stay safe, and until next time from the Crypto Valley in Switzerland. Bye-bye.